The flames licked the walls of their childhood home like hungry demons, turning memories into ash in seconds. Sean froze at the doorway, his twin brother Ben's screams echoing from the upstairs bedroom where he just confessed his deepest secret. He was gay. In that split-second decision, fueled by shock and a lifetime of small-town expectations, Sean bolted into the night, leaving Ben behind to the inferno's mercy. Years later, Sean sat in the sterile office of a probate lawyer in downtown Chicago, the city lights mocking his hollow chest. The will reading was supposed to be a formality. Ben had perished in that fire, their parents long gone, and Sean assumed he'd inherit the modest family estate. But as the lawyer cleared his throat and read aloud, Sean's world tilted again. Everything went to a boy named Jamie, someone Sean had never heard of. "Who the hell is Jamie?" Sean demanded, his voice cracking like dry wood. The lawyer, a balding man named Mr. Hargrove, adjusted his glasses and slid a photo across the desk. It showed a young man in his early 20s, with soft brown eyes and a tentative smile, standing beside Ben in what looked like a park. They weren't touching, but the way Ben looked at him screamed intimacy. Sean's stomach churned. Ben had a secret life, one that didn't include his twin. Growing up in rural Illinois, Sean and Ben had been inseparable mirrors of each other. Same sandy hair, same freckled noses, same dreams of escaping the farm life. But cracks formed in high school when Ben started pulling away, spending hours in the library instead of on the football field with Sean. Sean chalked it up to Ben's bookish nature, never suspecting the truth. Their parents, devout churchgoers, preached family values that left no room for deviation. "Boys like that are lost souls," their father would say over dinner, quoting scripture. The night of the fire, it was Thanksgiving break from college. Ben had come home early, nervous energy buzzing around him. Over pie, he blurted it out. "I'm gay, Sean. I've known for years." Sean laughed at first, thinking it a joke. Then anger surged. How could Ben hide this? How would it reflect on him, the straight-laced twin? The argument escalated. Words like disgrace and freak flying from Sean's lips. Ben stormed upstairs, and soon after, smoke alarms blared. A faulty wire in the old house, investigators later said. Sean could have gone back. The fire department arrived minutes after he called from the neighbor's phone. But in his panic, or perhaps his rage, he didn't. Ben's body was found charred in the hallway, as if he'd tried to escape. The guilt gnawed at Sean like termites, but he buried it under layers of denial. He moved to the city, built a career in real estate, dated women who never stuck around. Now, this will shattered his facade. Mr. Hargrove explained that Jamie was Ben's companion, a term that hung heavy in the air. Ben had met him at a support group in Chicago, where Ben had been living part-time during college. Jamie was a foster kid, bounced around systems, and Ben had taken him under his wing. The inheritance included the family land, worth a fortune now due to urban sprawl, and a life insurance payout. Ben specified that Jamie use it for education or stability, the lawyer said. He wanted to give him what he never had, a chance. Sean's mind raced. This couldn't be right. He was blood. Jamie was a stranger. Was this Ben's final revenge? For the abandonment? For the words Sean had hurled? He left the office in a daze, clutching Jamie's address. Driving through the bustling streets, Sean replayed that night. Ben's confession wasn't just about coming out. It was a plea for acceptance. And Sean had failed spectacularly. Arriving at a rundown apartment building in Wrigleyville, Sean knocked on door 3B. The young man who answered matched the photo, Jamie, with tousled hair and a wary expression. "Can I help you?" he asked, his voice soft but steady. "I'm Sean, Ben's twin." The words tasted bitter. Jamie's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and sorrow flashing across his face. He stepped aside, inviting Sean into a cramped living room cluttered with books and art supplies. A photo of Ben sat on the mantel, smiling in a way Sean hadn't seen in years. They sat awkwardly on the sofa. Jamie explained how he met Ben at a LGBTQ youth center 2 years before the fire. Ben was volunteering, sharing his story of growing up in a conservative family. He was like a big brother to me, Jamie said, his voice cracking. Helped me get my GED, encouraged me to apply to college. We were close. Close. The word lingered. Sean probed gently. Were you two together? Jamie hesitated, then nodded. It started as friendship, but yeah. Ben was my first real relationship. He made me feel seen. Sean felt a punch to the gut. His twin gay and in love while Sean lived in ignorance. Jealousy mixed with regret. Jealousy that Ben had found happiness without him. Why didn't he tell me? Sean whispered. Jamie shrugged. He was scared. Said his family wouldn't understand. After he came out to you that night, he called me sobbing. Said you reacted badly. The accusation stung. Sean defended himself. I was shocked. Our parents raised us a certain way. But even as he said it, excuses rang hollow. Jamie's eyes hardened. Ben deserved better. He loved you, but he couldn't live a lie anymore. Their conversation stretched into the evening, unpacking layers of Ben's hidden life. Jamie shared stories. Ben's poetry about forbidden love, his activism in quiet ways, his dreams of a world where twins like them didn't have to choose between family and self. Sean listened, the walls of his denial crumbling. For the first time, he saw Ben not as a mirror, but as his own person, with pains and joys Sean had ignored. As night fell, Sean left with a promise to return. Driving home, tears blurred the city lights. The inheritance was just money. The real loss was the brother he'd never truly known. But meeting Jamie cracked open a door. Maybe redemption lay in honoring Ben's wishes, in bridging the gap Ben couldn't. The next week, Sean found himself back at Jamie's apartment, this time with coffee and questions. He couldn't stay away. The pull of understanding Ben through Jamie was magnetic. They talked for hours, Jamie painting a picture of Ben that Sean barely recognized. Vibrant, passionate, unapologetically himself in the city. Ben loved Chicago, Jamie said, stirring his mug. Said it was where he could breathe. Back home, he felt suffocated. Sean nodded, remembering Ben's increasing trips away during college. He'd assumed it was for studies, not for building a new life. Jamie pulled out a journal. Ben's handwriting scrawled across pages. He wrote about you a lot, how he missed the old days, but feared losing you if he told the truth. Reading the entries, Sean's throat tightened. Ben described their twin bond as a double-edged sword, comforting yet constraining. Sean is my anchor, but anchors can drown you, one line read. Another, coming out might sever us, but staying silent is killing me. Sean handed the journal back, eyes stinging. I wish he'd trusted me more. Jamie leaned forward. Trust goes both ways. You grew up in the same house. Did you ever notice how he changed? Sean admitted he hadn't, too wrapped up in his own world. Football scholarships, parties, the facade of normalcy. Ben's quiet withdrawal seemed like typical introversion, not a sign of inner turmoil. As days turned to weeks, Sean and Jamie's meetings became routine. Sean helped Jamie navigate the inheritance paperwork, visiting the lawyer together. Mr. Hargrove raised an eyebrow at their budding alliance but said nothing. The family land in Illinois was being eyed by developers, selling it could fund Jamie's art school dreams, as Ben intended, but not everyone was pleased. Sean's aunt, their only surviving relative, caught wind of the will. Aunt Clara, a staunch conservative from the old town, called Sean in a fury. That boy's a fraud. Ben wouldn't leave everything to some deviant. Her words echoed their parents' prejudices, making Sean wince. He's not a fraud, Aunt Clara. Ben loved him. Loved? That's unnatural, she spat. You should have contested the will. Our family name dragged through the mud. Sean hung up, shaken. The call unearthed buried homophobia in his own family, and in himself. Had he fully accepted Ben's sexuality? Or was he just tolerating it now for guilt's sake? Jamie faced his own battles. At the youth center where Ben volunteered, whispers followed him after news of the inheritance spread. Some accused him of manipulating Ben, a gold digger preying on vulnerability. They don't know us, Jamie confided to Sean one evening. As they walked along Lake Michigan, the wind whipped their coats, the city skyline glittering. Ben and I were real. He saw past my rough edges. Sean asked about Jamie's past. Orphaned young, shuffled through fosters. Jamie had endured abuse for being different. Coming out at 16 got him kicked out of one home. Ben found him homeless, offered a couch, then more. He saved me, Jamie said softly. Their relationship blossomed slowly. Stolen glances, late-night talks, tentative touches that spoke of healing. Listening, Sean felt envy twist inside. Ben had given Jamie the unconditional love Sean withheld. I abandoned him, Sean admitted aloud for the first time. In the fire. I could have gone back. Jamie stopped walking, turning to face him. Ben forgave you, you know. In his last entry, he wrote about hoping you'd understand someday. Tears fell freely now. Sean collapsed onto a bench, sobs racking him. Jamie sat beside, a hesitant hand on his shoulder. The touch was platonic, but it sparked something in Sean, a realization that connection transcended labels. For years, he'd defined himself against Ben, clinging to straight as a shield. Now cracks formed in that armor. Back at Jamie's, they shared a pizza, conversation shifting to lighter topics. Jamie's art adorned the walls, vibrant abstracts capturing emotion. One piece, inspired by Ben, showed two figures entwined in light and shadow. It's us, Jamie explained. The push and pull. Sean traced the lines, seeing his twin in the strokes. But tension brewed. Aunt Clara rallied old family friends, petitioning to challenge the will on grounds of undue influence. She claimed Jamie coerced Ben, exploiting his confusion. Sean received emails from cousins he hadn't spoken to in years, urging him to fight. Don't let that lifestyle erase our heritage, one read. Sean confronted Aunt Clara at a family gathering in the old town. The church hall buzzed with judgmental stares. Ben's choices were his own, Sean argued. Jamie was his partner, respect that. Clara's face reddened. Partner? That's not marriage in God's eyes. You're betraying your blood. The room divided, some nodding with Clara, others shifting uncomfortably. Sean left early, heart pounding. Standing up felt right, but the rift widened. Returning to Chicago, Sean confided in Jamie. They're trying to take it all. Jamie's eyes filled with fear. I don't want the money if it causes this. But Ben wanted me to have a future. Together, they strategized, hiring a lawyer to defend the will. The process unearthed more about Ben. Bank statements showing donations to LGBTQ causes. Letters to politicians advocating for equality. Through it all, Sean grappled with his identity. Late nights, he'd question why Ben's coming out enraged him so. Was it fear of association? Or deeper, unspoken doubts? Jamie noticed his turmoil. You don't have to label yourself, he said gently. Just be honest. As the legal battle loomed, Sean felt the high tide of drama rising. Family versus love, past versus future. He chose sides, allying with Jamie, but at what cost? The courtroom in Cook County buzzed with anticipation, a stark contrast to the emotional storm inside Sean. Aunt Clara's challenge to the will had escalated to a full hearing, with witnesses lined up to paint Ben as vulnerable and Jamie as opportunistic. Sean sat beside Jamie, their lawyer, a sharp woman named Ms. Rivera, flipping through notes. Clara took the stand first, her voice trembling with righteous indignation. Ben was always the sensitive one. That boy Jamie twisted his mind, made him turn from family values. She cited Ben's upbringing, the church's teachings against homosexuality. It's a sin, and Ben knew it deep down. Murmurs rippled through the gallery, a mix of supporters and protesters. Ms. Rivera cross-examined deftly. Did Ben ever express unhappiness with his life choices to you? Clara faltered. Well, no, but he hid it from us. The judge, a no-nonsense man in his 60s, nodded thoughtfully. Jamie testified next, his hands steady despite the nerves. He recounted meeting Ben, their slow-building romance. Ben pursued equality. He volunteered because he wanted to help kids like me. lost in a system that didn't accept us. He produced emails and photos, evidence of their genuine bond. The inheritance? Ben said it was for my education to break the cycle. Sean watched, pride swelling. Jamie's poise under fire mirrored Ben's quiet strength. When Sean took the stand, he faced Clara's glare. I was there the night Ben came out, he admitted. I reacted poorly out of ignorance and fear, but Ben forgave me in his way. This will honors his true self. The opposing lawyer pounced. You abandoned your brother in a fire. Doesn't that suggest family discord? Perhaps Ben cut you out for good reason. Sean swallowed hard. Yes, I failed him, but Jamie didn't. Ben chose him because he saw love without judgment. The hearing stretched over days, unearthing societal rifts. Expert witnesses debated undue influence in same-sex relationships, sparking debates on whether gay partnerships deserved equal legal weight. Outside, media picked up the story. Twins' tragic death sparks inheritance battle over gay lover. Protests formed, LGBTQ advocates waving rainbow flags, conservatives countering with signs about traditional family. Sean fielded calls from reporters, his face splashed across local news. Friends from his old life distanced themselves, whispering about his shift. One college buddy texted, "Dude, you're defending that? What happened to you?" Sean replied, "I woke up." Amid the chaos, Sean and Jamie grew closer. Evenings after court, they debrief over takeout. Jamie opened up about his fears. If I lose, it's back to square one. But worse, Ben's memory gets tarnished. Sean reassured him, we won't let that happen. Their conversations deepened, touching on grief and growth. Sean shared childhood tales of Ben. Pranks, dreams, the unbreakable twin link. Jamie reciprocated with stories of Ben's city life. Pride parades, quiet dinners, plans for a future together. One night, as rain pattered against the window, Jamie asked, "Do you think Ben knew how much you loved him?" Sean paused. "I hope so, but I should have shown it." Jamie's hand covered his, a gesture of solidarity. No sparks flew. Sean wasn't questioning his sexuality, but the comfort was profound. It challenged his views. Love wasn't binary. It was human. The judge ruled in favor of the will, citing clear intent and lack of coercion. Clara stormed out, vowing an appeal. Victory tasted bittersweet. Jamie hugged Sean tightly. "Thank you." "For Ben." Sean nodded, but inside, doubts lingered. Had he truly changed? Or was this atonement? Post-ruling, life shifted. Jamie enrolled in art school, using funds to rent a studio. Sean visited often, helping with setups. He started volunteering at the youth center, mentoring kids like Jamie once was. Felt like honoring Ben, bridging worlds. But Clara's appeal loomed, dragging them back to court. New evidence surfaced. A recorded call from Ben to Clara months before the fire, where he expressed doubts about coming out to family. "They'll hate me," Ben said. Clara twisted it. See? He was conflicted, vulnerable to influence. Ms. Rivera countered with Ben's therapy notes, released with Jamie's consent. They showed Ben's journey to self-acceptance, his love for Jamie as an anchor. The appeal hearing intensified debates, family rights versus personal autonomy. Sean testified again, this time revealing his abandonment guilt publicly. "I let prejudice blind me. Don't let it blind you too." The media frenzy peaked. Op-eds debated. Was Sean a redeemed hero or complicit villain? Social media exploded with hashtags like Justice for Ben and Family First. Sean received hate mail from both sides, accused of betraying straights or not being ally enough. Through it, Jamie remained steadfast. "This is bigger than us," he said. "It's about visibility." Their bond strengthened, a platonic partnership born from loss. Sean began questioning societal norms. Why did coming out fracture families? Why did love need labels? As the appeal dragged on, high drama unfolded. A surprise witness, a former foster sibling of Jamie's, claiming Jamie had a history of using people. Ms. Rivera dismantled it as jealousy. Tensions boiled, testing loyalties. Finally, The appeal was denied. Clara conceded, but the family rift was permanent. Sean lost relatives, but gained purpose. With Jamie, he planned a memorial for Ben, a scholarship fund for LGBTQ youth. Yet, shadows remained. Sean wondered, had Ben truly forgiven him, or was the will a message? With the legal battles behind them, Sean and Jamie focused on healing. The inheritance secured, Jamie dove into art school, his pieces reflecting themes of identity and loss. One exhibition featured a series called Twin Flames, abstracts of fire and figures, symbolizing Ben's life and death. Sean attended the opening, surrounded by a diverse crowd that Ben would have loved. "These are for him," Jamie whispered, as applause echoed. Sean nodded, spotting subtle nods to their story. Entwined shadows, burning houses, emerging light. Critics raved, calling it raw and provocative. But not all feedback was kind. Some conservative reviewers decried it as propaganda, sparking online debates about art's role in social issues. Sean's career suffered fallout. Clients in real estate, many from traditional backgrounds, pulled away after the publicity. "We prefer not to associate," one emailed. Sean shrugged it off, starting his own firm focused on affordable housing for marginalized communities. It was Ben's influence, he realized, quiet activism seeping in. Family tensions simmered. Clara sent a letter. "You've chosen strangers over blood. May God forgive you." Sean replied politely, inviting dialogue, but silence followed. Other relatives trickled back, curious more than condemning. A cousin admitted, "I didn't know Ben was suffering. Maybe we all failed him." Jamie and Sean's friendship deepened into something familial. They spent holidays together, creating new traditions. Thanksgiving, once tainted by the fire, became a day of reflection. Over turkey, they toasted Ben. "To choices," Sean said. Jamie added, "and second chances." But undercurrents of controversy persisted. A documentary filmmaker approached them, wanting to chronicle the story. "It's timely, family. Forgiveness, LGBTQ rights," she pitched. Sean hesitated. Jamie was eager. Ben would have wanted his truth out. They agreed, but filming unearthed painful memories. Interviews delved deep. Sean recounted the fire night vividly. The smoke, Ben's screams, his cowardly flight. "I chose self-preservation over brotherhood," he confessed on camera. Jamie shared intimate details of their romance. First kiss under stars, Ben's proposal to move in together. "He made me believe in love despite the world." The doc aired on a streaming platform, igniting national discourse. Panels discussed homophobia's toll on families, twin dynamics, inheritance laws for same-sex partners. Supporters praised their vulnerability. Detractors called it exploitation. Social media buzzed, "Sean is no hero. He caused the death." Counter, "Redemption is possible." Sean faced backlash at a panel discussion. An audience member shouted, "You let your brother die because he was gay. How do you sleep?" Sean responded calmly, "I don't, some nights, but I'm trying to make amends." The exchange went viral, polarizing views. Jamie struggled too. Old Fosters resurfaced, selling stories to tabloids. Jamie's troubled past. They painted him as unstable, questioning his worthiness. Jamie confided in Sean, "Sometimes I wonder if Ben made a mistake trusting me." Sean reassured, "He saw your heart. That's enough." Amid the noise, personal growth bloomed. Sean attended therapy, unpacking his reactions. "Internalized homophobia," the counselor said. "From society, family." Sean explored allyship, joining pride events. At one parade, he carried a sign, "For my brother." Jamie marched beside, their platonic bond drawing curious glances. Romance entered Jamie's life anew. A fellow artist named Luis. Sean met him over dinner, feeling a paternal protectiveness. "Treat him well," Sean joked. Luis nodded earnestly. Watching them, Sean reflected on Ben's happiness with Jamie. Pure, unburdened. But Sean's own love life stalled. Dates felt superficial. Women sensed his emotional baggage. One night, after a failed outing, he confessed to Jamie, "Maybe I'm not ready. Or maybe, I don't know." Jamie smiled knowingly. Love finds you when you're whole. As years passed, the story spanning 5 since the fire, Sean visited the old homestead. Developers had built suburbs, but a plot remained untouched, per Ben's will, a park for the community. Sean planted a tree there, engraving Ben's legacy. Jamie joined, scattering wildflower seeds. Yet, unresolved threads tugged. Sean discovered Ben's unpublished manuscript, a semi-autobiographical novel about twins divided by secrets. Reading it, Sean wept. The forgotten twin mirrored his guilt. Publishing it became their next project, stirring more controversy. Conservatives boycotted, progressives championed. At the book launch, Sean spoke, "Ben's words challenge us to confront biases. In families, in society." Questions flew. "Do you regret your actions?" "Always," Sean said. "But regret fuels change." The event ended with a heated Q&A. One attendee argued, "Society's progressing. Why dwell on past prejudices?" Another countered, "Because they still exist." The debate encapsulated the story's core, conflict breeding awareness. Sean and Jamie's journey wasn't over. New challenges arose. A lawsuit from a distant relative, media scrutiny, but their alliance held. In quiet moments, Sean pondered, was this Ben's plan? To force growth through loss? The park dedicated to Ben became a sanctuary for Sean and Jamie, a place to reflect amid blooming flowers. On the 5th anniversary of the fire, they gathered there with friends from the youth center. Stories flowed. Ben's kindness, his laugh, his unyielding spirit. Luis held Jamie's hand, a reminder that life moved forward. Sean addressed the group. "Ben taught me that love isn't conditional. His will wasn't just about money, it was a wake-up call." Applause followed, but Sean knew the path to acceptance was ongoing. Society had evolved, marriage equality nationwide, more protections, but pockets of resistance lingered. Back in Chicago, Sean's firm thrived, specializing in inclusive housing. He mentored young professionals, emphasizing empathy. Jamie's art career soared. His pieces hung in galleries, provoking thought on identity. The documentary won awards, amplifying their message. Yet, fame brought trolls. Anonymous threats accusing them of promoting perversion. One evening, as Sean and Jamie reviewed fan mail, mostly supportive, a letter stood out. From a teen in rural Illinois, "Your story gave me courage to come out. Thank you." Tears welled. "This is why," Jamie said. They responded personally, offering resources. But personal demons resurfaced. Sean dreamed of the fire nightly, Ben's face pleading. Therapy helped, but guilt was a stubborn stain. He confided in Jamie, "What if I can't forgive myself?" Jamie replied, "Ben would want you to. Live fully, for both of you." Inspired, Sean traveled to their hometown, confronting the past. The old church still stood. He attended a service, sitting anonymously. The sermon touched on forgiveness, echoing his journey. Afterward, he approached the pastor, successor to their parents' era. "Times are changing," the pastor admitted. "We need to evolve." Clara, living nearby, agreed to meet. Over coffee, tensions eased. "I miss Ben," she said softly. "Maybe I was wrong." No full reconciliation, but a crack in the wall. Sean left hopeful. Jamie's relationship with Luis deepened. They discussed marriage. Sean stood as best man at their wedding, a joyous affair blending cultures. Vows exchanged, Sean felt Ben's presence. "He'd be proud," he toasted. Sean explored his own heart. A chance meeting with a colleague, Sarah, sparked interest. Their dates were honest. He shared his story. "You're brave," she said. Romance bloomed slowly, built on truth. The published novel, Forgotten Flames, became a bestseller. Reviews praised its raw emotion, but controversies arose. Schools banned it for gay themes, sparking free speech debates. Sean debated on TV, "Books like this save lives." Opponents argued, "It confuses youth." Through it all, Sean and Jamie's bond endured. Like brothers, forged in fire. They co-founded a foundation, Ben's Bridge, aiding LGBTQ families in reconciliation. As the story circled back, Sean stood at Ben's grave, whispering apologies. The wind carried them away, perhaps to wherever Ben was. In the end, the inheritance wasn't about wealth, it was about legacy. Ben's choice challenged norms, forcing confrontations with prejudice, love, and redemption. Was Sean's abandonment unforgivable, or does true change absolve past sins?